My name is Stephanie Lancaster, and I'm on faculty in the Department of Occupational Therapy in the College of Health Professions. Something I'm always trying to do in my own teaching is interject more active learning tools. And that's what I want to talk to you about today is how can we use technology to increase active learning and move towards the learning outcome goals in our teaching. When I first started teaching about a dozen years ago, I had a long commute, about an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours to and from campus every day. And I spent a lot of that time listening to audiobooks and podcasts about teaching, always trying to reflect on and think about how I could improve my own teaching practices. The best resource I came across in that time is a podcast called Teaching in Higher Ed, and that's where I learned about the technology tool and active learning strategy that I'm going to talk to you about today, called Kahoot. Kahoot is an interactive game-based platform that uses a quiz format and can be used in a number of different ways and for different reasons in teaching. I use Kahoot as part of the required preparatory work that students are to do before class. That gives me a little glimpse into their understanding and completion of those tasks before class even starts, and it gives them an idea of what we're going to be discussing in class and how far along their knowledge is already before class starts. I often use it also at the very beginning of an in-person class session as an opener, and I put one or more personalized questions in there so that students learn about each other, and that also allows me to learn about them. I might ask a question like, are you left-handed or right-handed? And then they respond using their personal devices, and their responses collectively are projected on the screen. And we can stop for a second and say, oh, that's really unusual. 25% of this class is left-handed, and we don't usually see that, and talk about it further. One thing I do in using Kahoot in person is I allow my students to use either an alias or an emoji instead of their actual name so that they are not embarrassed or nervous about that. I'm looking at that point at the class's understanding as a whole. So it's not necessarily important to me that I have their individual names in those face-to-face formative assessment checks. I also use it at the beginning of class to check to see if they got the main points from the preparatory work, and I throw in a few things that are more of a review from earlier in the course or even earlier in the curriculum. I often throw in a Kahoot midway through the class to keep people on track and kind of put something in more active. And also that gives me a quick glimpse to get a read on where people are in their attention and understanding in that material covered so far. I sometimes use Kahoot as a wrap-up where I will use it to really underscore the main learning objectives from that session or module, so we really can look at together, did they pick up those main vocabulary words and takeaway points. I will share Kahoot links with students and allow them to use it to review for quizzes or tests. And the other way I've figured out how to use Kahoot in a way that really works for my students is when I am designing an asynchronous module, I will put a Kahoot in there, and I do ask the students to use their real names to log into Kahoot there so I can track who has completed that module and did they really understand that material. I can download a report from that so I can go through and see how everyone did individually and as a whole to see if there's anything we might need to talk about in person later in the class. So there are many ways that Kahoot can be used and many reasons that it is a helpful active learning technology tool. The next time you're looking for something to enrich your teaching and inspire your students, I encourage you to take a look at Kahoot. Thank you for watching. I hope this has been helpful to you.